What's going on, everybody? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC. We're in the truck. It's nice and quiet. It's a beautiful night. Let's talk about knives. Let's talk about, specifically, knives in 3V. 3V is not talked about a lot. Mostly recently, I think, because of the whole Magna Cut thing. But it seems like there was just this big craze about 3V for a while, and then poof, it was gone, and we were on to 4V and Vanex and M390 and Magna Cut, and now it's just kind of like lost in the wind. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because 3V is one of my favorite steels. I love it. I have a lot of experience with it. And there are companies still using it, like Bark River, for example. But I wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on it and, just kind of talk about it a little bit. So, right here we have a Bark River lightweight Fox River knife. This is in 3V. This is a knife that I've had for a very, very long time. It was one of my first Bark Rivers. It might have actually been my first. I think it actually was. It's just a small little fixed blade, really small, really lightweight, very thin. And this is a knife that I have done a lot of work with. Everything from general EDC tasks like cardboard cutting, rope cutting, opening packages, cutting feed bags, trimming plants, taking care of produce, all of that stuff. The dog food, I feed my dogs raw food, so the meat and the packaging with that and just preparing the meat. And then I've, gone as far as small game processing with this. So I do have a picture way back on my Instagram of a squirrel that I processed with this knife and field dressed it. It was a huge, huge squirrel. It was like the size of a ferret. I mean, this thing was massive. And the dogs ended up catching it. They are very skilled at catching small game, and they just took that thing out. It was massive. So I field dressed it, froze it for multiple months to kill off the parasites, and then we ended up feeding it to the dogs. But this is the knife that field dressed that. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but let's see. Trying to pick up the rust. It's rusted, especially on this side. I don't know if it'll catch it, but there's rust kind of speckled all over the knife from, I can't even recall when that actually happened, but the knife is covered in rust. However, this is a fantastic steel, and this is one of those steels, at least in my experience, where it's very, very toothy, and if you chip it, it tends to still keep a good working edge. Like I said, this is just my experience, but the first time that I used this really, really hardcore was with that squirrel, and I was moving, through bone and stuff, and it did get multiple chips. However, I didn't even notice until way after when I went to clean up the knife and wash it and stuff. I had no idea it had chipped that much because it just kept cutting. It was processing that squirrel perfectly fine. I did not notice any compromises in the blade, so I didn't even notice it was chipped until after, and it had some pretty severe edge damage, I think, from cutting through the bone on... I was using a wood cutting board outside, a makeshift one, and I think it just kind of crushed that edge because these are very thinly ground and they're convexed. It's a full convex, so it just annihilated that edge, but I didn't even notice. So at least for me, 3V is one of those steels where it just takes a gnarly working toothy edge and it will just keep it, and it's so different from steels like 154 cm, S35 VN, where when those go dull, they're dull. They're just not cutting. They feel like a butter knife at that point. They just completely melt, and it's like you're not getting anything else done with that knife until it gets sharpened again. This is not like that. 3V is not like that. It doesn't, at least for me, it just doesn't really dull. It just loses bite almost. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to lose that. And so what I like about 3V is just that it's a constant worker. And I have another knife in 3V here. This is a BGM Knives full-size Quaken in 3V. This is one that I've been using for the past few days. I've owned it for quite a while. This knife, I recorded a video a long time ago of me cutting some like laminate or vinyl something, and I was using my deck as like a cutting board, and I was just like shredding these slabs of vinyl, and I was hitting nails and everything. And when people saw that video, they were like shitting themselves. They're like, oh my god, that edge is going to be brutal to fix. And I was like, no, it actually isn't. It's totally fine. Like it chipped a little bit, but it was not hard to fix at all. This, I've noticed that the BGM 3V is less chippy, much less chippy than the Bark River. Now, obviously, we have some major differences here. This is completely full convex. Like this knife, along with all other Bark River knives, this does not have a bevel. So this is just full convex. There is no bevel at all. All Bark River knives are like that. They are all convex. Some of them have like a false Scandi almost, where it looks like it has a grind leading down to a bevel, but that it does not exist. Like Mike Stewart from Bark River will even tell you they just don't do anything but convex, and he has his own philosophy behind that. But I have noticed that those types of Bark River edges, whether it's the convex, whether it's the heat treat, who knows, much more chippy than my experience with BGM 3V. This is a hollow ground Quaken, and I have basically tried to kill this thing, and it just, nothing happened. It had like just some very minor micro edge damage like right here, and aside from that, it was like clean slicing paper. It's crazy. So I guess I just hope that 3V does not fall to the wayside, become invalid, because we have all these new steels like Magna Cut coming out and stuff, and everyone's obsessing over them, and it's like we have a lot of really good steels already, and I just I want to keep making videos about those because I think they're just as valid as all of the new stuff. And also I did want to show a new knife that came in today. I mentioned this a couple videos ago. I'm not really ordering too much anymore. I still have a few things that I'm waiting on. I have a custom order I'm waiting on. Not really ordering too much else, but I did have this come in. So this is just a stunning knife that got here today. I've already used it, as you can probably kind of see by the smudges and stuff. Immediately started using it the moment it got here. This is a Bark River Bushcrafter in 3V, and this is exactly what I was just talking about a few minutes ago, the kind of like Scandi grind that, looks pretty typical, and you would think it would lead down to an edge bevel, but it doesn't. Again, this is completely convex, 100%. This is just a gorgeous piece that I ended up picking up, mostly because I have a lot of different bushcraft knives, a lot of people's like versions of the best bushcraft knife, and I'm going to end up putting them all together in like an ultimate test at some point, probably when I get out to Ohio, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to have time here to do it. It's going to be like a gauntlet. It's going to be this, an Adventure Sworn Mountaineer, a Woody Smith Snake Eater, the Mitch Mitchell LT Wright collaboration on that native survival knife. I've got an LT Wright next gen, just a whole bunch of really cool takes on bushcraft knives. I'm going to line them all up and, put them head to head and see what happens, see which one does best, because they're all very different and they're all classics for the most part, other than Woody's knife that just recently got designed by James at Junkyard Fox, but that's kind of like his version of the ultimate camp knife for him, which is so cool. But yeah, so this is just a gorgeous new piece that got here. Crushing it already. I've been using it since I got home. It's fabulous. It's thick. Talk about fucking thick, dude. That is way thicker than your mom. Way thicker. Like, she would have to get surgery to be this thick. So definitely a little bit of compromise with slicing capability. I was doing some food work with it, and I could just tell this is a fat mother effer. However, because of the convex grind, it does, it should be pretty tough, and it is crazy sharp. Like Bark River, I will give them that. They send these out with some brutal edges. This thing is a laser beam. So yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous. And just for a size comparison here, we'll take the lightweight Fox River. So the Bushcrafter is definitely much larger. Two really cool knives though. This one is so good for game processing. Just an absolute perfect grip. Thin, slicey, razor sharp little knife. This one is really nice. Really, really nice. The one thing that makes me nervous about Bark River knives is just like the convex, the full convex. That's something that is, for me, because I just beat the shit out of my stuff, I have to be aware of these knives. I know how to sharpen them. I mean, this one is so sharp. I might have a video on YouTube way back, either that or it's on Instagram, but I set up like a piece of newspaper, like I stood it up, and the edge that I put on this after I fixed it from the squirrel thing, like I can just do this and slide the knife down through newspaper, like folded and standing up. That's how sharp it is. So this is like scary, scary sharp, but I do have to be aware when I'm using knives like Bark River, just because that edge needs a little extra attention, in my opinion. It's just different from what I'm used to. I'm much more comfortable sharpening normal bevels, even though technically the convex on a Bark River should be like an easier job. Yeah, I'm just more comfortable with working with a normal bevel. And it's funny because Mike Stewart from Bark River he made a video once, and he was saying how, like, you will never have to sharpen a Bark River in the field if you're hunting. You will never have to do that because of the convex grind. And he said if you ever lose your edge, you can just strop it on your jeans in the field and it will come back razor sharp. No comment on that very interesting ideology that he has. I will just say I am much more comfortable with this type of deal, in terms of like sharpening in the field, taking care of it in the field. This would be easier for me, but that's just me. So yeah, 3V, fabulous steel. If you are someone who doesn't want to maintain your knives very often, or you want an edge that will really stay toothy and working for quite some time, even if it takes on some edge damage, 3V is really nice. As long as, if you get Bark River 3V, I do suggest that maybe you're a little bit careful and you use these for like tasks that wouldn't include maybe hitting nails in a pallet or staples in a box or something. Like I have noticed that Bark River 3V is chippy for me, from my experience. The BGM 3V is not chippy at all. It takes dings and stuff quite nicely. But either way, both of them keep a toothy working edge, whether they take on some edge damage or not. So I think it's a fabulous steel. Yeah, check out BGM Knives per usual. Check out Bark River Knives. They're dropping a whole bunch of new stuff soon through DLT. You can get on a pre-order for some MagnaCut. You can get on pre-orders for some new models that they're introducing. They have a Bushcraft Scout that they're introducing, which is, it falls in the line of this. So you have the Bushcrafter, you have like the mini Bushcrafter, and then you have the ultralight. They get smaller and lighter as you go. This is the largest size, I'm pretty sure. The Bushcraft Scout is a version of this kind of with jimping, and they're making it in MagnaCut, so you can check that out on DLT, get on a pre-order. But yeah, just wanted to talk steel, knives, etc. I have a dog birthday party to attend. It is, well, yesterday was Zadie's 8th birthday, but we had to wait for one of my roommates to get home today for the party because she wasn't here yesterday, so we're going to have a birthday party with a giant fat-ass steak and birthday hats, and they're gonna eat birthday steak tonight and be happy. So yeah, go use your shit, guys. I will see you on the next video. I love you all. Yeah, hope you're having a great night. Love you bunches. See you next time.